Hello, everyone, and welcome to Geek Tank, where everything is a matter of geek. I'm your host, Zia.
And I'm Kay.
And today we're here with a special guest.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Marco.
He's also the founder of Straw Hat Games and creator of Battlesphere card game, which we'll be featuring soon, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Definitely something worth checking out. Very fun game. But today's topic is a little different since it's Halloween time. We're very, very close now.
Yeah, it's the last weekend before Halloween.
So.
This is Halloween.
That's right. So today we're doing another spooky themed episode, and today we're tackling the big subject. We're talking about horror movies.
That's right, slashers, baby.
That's right. Slashers,
subgenre
zombie films,
of
ghosts.
horror.
It's probably the best genre, you know?
I think it's the most iconic for horror movies.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's definitely one of my favorites just because it's
way better than all your slow burn horror, you know?
Man, don't be
trying to be all
my slow
pretentious
burn
and stuff.
No.
We're so deep.
I'm not.
Look
not.
at you being pretentious about
Yeah.
stuff.
You
Mr.
two
Real
are like the
horror.
horror buffs, right? So I'm not that big into horror.
Yeah, no, I grew up on horror movies. I was watching Halloween and Friday the 13th like when I was in middle school, like when you're not supposed to be doing that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, well, see, I was watching it from a very young age. I wasn't even in school when I started watching horror.
Oh, wow.
So you know what? That's interesting. Let's start there. How we grew up with horror. Well, you know, the role it's played in our lives, our experiences with it. Let's start with that. So, Marco, you're a guest, so why don't you go first?
So, you know, like I said, I had a pretty early start. Not as early as you, I guess, but around middle school, you know, I started watching horror movies. You know, it kind of just starts obviously what you see on TV. You know, back then you watched a lot more TV.
Right.
And I would just be up late at night with my best friend at that time. You know, we'd do like sleepovers and shit. And so like...
so that way if you got scared, you could hold each other
Oh,
in
yeah,
your
it was.
arms.
Yeah, we held each other like all night. That's how you do it. So that's how we got our start. We would see stuff on TV, and then as we got more into it, we'd rent stuff from like Blockbuster Video because that was
Days of
Yo,
Blockbuster
old
and Hollywood
Blockbuster.
Video.
Bring it back. No.
I remember going into those sections, just looking at all the VHSs and just being like, "Oh, this looks so cool!" Like, it was like going into a candy store.
And horror movies had the best covers.
Oh yeah,
like when you were going through the horror aisle, like you would just see like the most like vibrant, colorful, and like bloody like covers on these movies. That a lot of them, it made them look better than they are.
Oh,
but
definitely.
it was still really fun to look through them and trying to like pick out the one that looks like the goriest or like the most scary and like just grab them and like marathon them.
You know what the best thing about renting a horror movie as opposed to watching it on TV was?
What?
Boobies.
Yes, that's right. No, that's
As a
actually
kid,
very
you got to
important.
see
And
boobies.
not only the boobies, but also the rest of the gore. Because you know they always had to tone it down for TV. Like
of course.
You know, even like if it was like a scene where someone would get stabbed or impaled or something, they would cut that out on TV, so you missed all the good stuff. And then obviously the sex scenes. You know, middle school me was all over that.
I mean,
So,
that's
like,
what horror was all about: sex and gore.
I specifically remember Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah.
So like that movie was edited like crazy for TV. Like, but straight up, like there's a scene in there where there's a girl like in a tent like having sex with her boyfriend, and then she gets like impaled by Jason.
Oh, I remember
like through the
that
tent,
scene.
and you don't see it on TV at all. So when you rent it for the first time and you see that unedited, it was just so much more like shocking than when you saw it on TV.
Yeah.
You lose a lot of the effect of the film when
Right.
it's censored like that.
Yeah, and like a lot of these scenes are humorous too, so it's
And then even back then, you can say like with horror, and especially like during like the Blockbuster days, since it was like the early days of the internet, it was hard to find out if like this movie is good compared to like now, or you know.
Yeah, you just had to kind of like take a leap of faith on it.
Yeah, because those like reviews were in newspapers.
Yeah, and like nobody read newspapers,
exactly.
Especially
for
for
comics.
kids. Yeah.
Well, I did read the comics though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Those aren't
the
around
horoscopes,
anymore,
bro. The horoscopes.
Oh, I didn't read those. I was all about like Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what about you, Kay? What was your experience with horror?
I mean, I used to watch stuff with my older sister and my brother. They used to, like, every now and then they used to rent out, like, horror movie. We used to have, like, a group of friends over and watch it, and that was my experience. But probably for me, one of the scariest movies I saw when I was younger, I think was, because is from the Halloween franchise. Curse of Michael Myers is the one I started with.
Oh, dude, I remember that movie. Yeah,
Curse of
And-
Michael Myers, that was a good one. That was one of
Yeah.
my favorite
definitely
Halloween
my favorite
series.
when I was younger.
Yeah.
And that spooked me really badly.
Really?
Yeah. Like I was spooked by that.
How old were you at the time?
I think it just came out on VHS, and I've been wanting to watch it. Like
So you're
I've
probably
never
like in
seen-
your early teens.
No.
No? Young?
Because that was around
I
like
was younger.
1995 or something.
Yeah, yeah. So I was probably just around 11 or 10.
Okay. Wow, I was 4.
You know, I feel bad for Michael Myers.
Go fuck yourself, see.
No, I was a baby.
Yeah.
You know, I feel bad for Michael Myers. Like, I mean, he's just trying to get some help.
Really?
Everybody's always asking, why is Michael Myers killing him? But like, did everyone ever ask what's killing Michael Myers?
What is killing
Damn it,
Michael
man.
Myers?
You're right.
He
Loomis
needs
is a
therapy,
quack.
man.
Loomis is supposed to be his doctor, right?
Yeah, and all he did was try to keep him locked up for
Yeah,
like
he's
8
just
years.
calling him evil and shit. He's like, did you
Yeah.
actually try Loomis?
Yeah, I don't think he just looked at him and he was like, oh, that kid's evil. He just like wrote him off. And then so he just spent his whole life being ignored, locked up, and treated as some kind of mass murderer.
Yeah, look,
Of
man,
course he's gonna like
he's
lash
so-
out a bit when he gets
he's so
out.
scarred he doesn't even talk to people.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like he's withdrawn.
Yeah, he's
all
very sheltered
internalized.
and just like he doesn't even know what to say. So
I
he
bet
just
you-
breathes.
Inside that hard exterior is like a nice, soft caramel core
Yeah.
that you just
Dude, he just needs a hug.
delicious.
So since I'm not a horror buff, but what are your guys' favorite genres of horror?
Oh well, for me, it's definitely like slasher films and intense like gory movies. I love the Halloween franchise. I love zombie films and really just anything that's like super intense, like the Evil Dead series.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Evil Dead.
I enjoy the gore, the shock value of films, and just I like jump scares a lot. So like for me, a horror movie is all about the ride
Yeah.
and just like kind of enjoying the experience. So that's what I'm looking for when I watch a horror movie.
Right. I mean, I love all the stuff that Marco mentioned. I have a very holistic view of horror. The only thing is, I don't like when they come to rely too much on one tactic. So, like for instance, jump scares is the thing that's usually overused. So, we've had this conversation, off the show before, Marco, about like slow burn horrors versus like intense jump scares. It's not that I don't enjoy jump scares. I love them a lot. It's just when it's gotten to the point that's predictable, then it's like it's not a jump scare anymore. So for me, it's a bit of everything. Like I love slashers. That's what I think that's what I started with. I can remember that from a very young age, and Halloween definitely tops that list. But I also like zombies and ghost stories and things like that. Just anything that kind of gets the adrenaline pumping. And
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy. I don't enjoy, but I get more of that thrill and that. To me, like any movie is good where I feel that emotion being. I feel the emotion of the character in the movie.
right,
know
like
what I'm
you
saying?
like
Like,
to
when
get
you
attached
feel
to
them
the
pucker up?
character.
Yeah, when my booty hole puckers up.
Yeah,
It's like, ooh.
Well, that's something that all movies should strive to
No,
do.
no,
But
exactly.
In horror, when you care about
Exactly.
the character,
Um,
it's that much more frightening.
For example, I think recently a movie came out, Quiet Place, which isn't like horror, but
I wouldn't say it's more like thriller, but it's
more
yeah,
thriller,
it's closer
but-
to like a thriller.
Yeah. But like you feel that tension.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah,
The movie
it
did
was-
a very good job of portraying that that tension from not being able to hear what's around
exactly.
you. Yeah.
The, like having to be silent and
Yeah,
and you feel that tension all throughout in the theater as well.
Yeah, it built a very
Everybody
good
was-
atmosphere.
Quiet.
well, you know what else I remember in the theater?
Yeah.
In the first 15 minutes, constant
Everybody eating their popcorn.
all, and it's just like you realize, wow, the music really does mask a lot of these noises.
Yeah,
people
because
are
like
making.
the first 15 minutes of that film had nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
sound.
I think people realize pretty quickly, like, oh wait,
Yeah, and
it's
then
so
they said-
quiet. I need
I-
to stop making noise.
Yeah,
And
I
then
saw
it-
people, they were eating the popcorn and then like 2 minutes in, they just like stopped.
Yeah, because that's I think that's pretty awesome that a movie was able to do that.
Yeah, like it
you
made
know?
people.
It made
conscious
people
of that,
like conscious
okay.
of like their own sound and
Right,
Kind of
yeah.
like, oh my god,
And they're-
I need to be quiet
Yeah,
because
that-
they
that's
need to
another-
be quiet because I don't want some. If I'm making noise, maybe something's gonna happen to them in the movie.
It's immersive, yeah.
Someone in the theater is gonna come like one of those monsters and just
Yeah,
gotcha,
yeah.
bitch. Making all that noise
Yeah.
up there.
So for me, is definitely like if I feel that sense of dread, just the same way as the character in the movie is going. That's like I consider to be good horror.
Right.
I tend to enjoy like the supernatural stuff, like where there's like ghosts and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That gets me going.
Kind of like Hill House, which
Yeah.
I think we've all seen it now, right?
Yeah, the Haunting of Hill House. Yeah,
so,
very good.
I'll
Very good
just
ghost
say
film.
spoilers right now for the entire video, and especially newer stuff like this that we're getting into. So just in case you haven't seen it, we may some of these things. So.
Yeah, I thought Haunting at Hill House was really good because it's one of those shows where you can just take out the supernatural, the horror, spooky stuff, and you have this really great emotional drama.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really good family drama.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with the family, like even without them being haunted.
Know, and you just want to know about their plight and their
right.
Their journey.
Because they're all very complex characters. There's things that you see.
They have a lot of
each,
problems.
Yeah, like you see, like there's things that you don't like about them, but then there's things that are also redeeming about them, and that's very true to life because all of us have undesirable qualities.
And then that was the thing, right? Is like I feel like if you look at the movie deeply, you can look at the ghosts as being like metaphors for their problems.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was one thing that we had again discussed off the show. Is did we talk about it with you? It was the ghosts that they might not even like. They could totally be something created by the character's minds.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
it would
I don't think we talked
change
about
anything.
it, but I agree. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, especially like one of my favorite characters in the show, Luke.
Yeah,
When
Luke was pretty great.
with the bowler hat guy following him around constantly.
Okay.
It's like
And then
this-
you can look at Luke, since he was like a drug addict, right?
Right.
Heroin, and the bowler hat guy had to have his bowler hat. Like Luke had to have heroin.
Oh, right. Well, also the fact that he was constantly just stalking him.
Yeah.
That was almost like the addiction creeping up on him.
Well, you know what it
Following
could have been
everywhere.
also is that the bowler hat guy wasn't even there.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
beyond
Yeah,
beyond that first encounter he had with him as a child, that might have traumatized him. And as an adult, he saw him, even if he
Right.
wasn't there.
Yeah.
And that could totally be a thing in that show.
Yeah, it was like I was saying, it's like symbolic of his addiction following him everywhere he goes. And his trauma too, like you said.
Yeah, and there was just like a message in the movie is like over in the show, it's like about over sheltering your kids, from
Right.
the world,
And about how you treat others.
Yeah, be kind, man.
Yeah.
The only gripe I had with the show really was that it tended to be too slow at times. It did take a very slow pace, and the scenes where they progressed things a lot and had like those shocking scenes were really well done. But like in between, there's a lot of downtime where it's just kind of like where you felt like it could have been sped up a bit, and like it would have the same effect.
I agree for the first 3 episodes that at times it felt really slow. Also, up until like episode 4, I kind of had a problem with them constantly jumping back and forth through time. Like,
Yeah, it got a little bit hard to follow.
Yeah, but then I kind of saw going forward with episode 4 or 5, I can't remember which one, that like, this is intentional. There's a reason why they're doing this.
It's like they're showing like everybody's perspective of what happened,
Right?
And like, and I like that because it just kind of like leaves you on hook and gets you engaged for like the next episode.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about it. Is like even though they did the time jumps, it's kind of like, oh, so this is what Nell saw.
Right, yeah.
During that time. This is what
you see things from
Luke's-
people's perspectives.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
constantly giving you a more holistic view of everything.
Yeah.
So, do you guys have like a favorite scene from the show? Obviously, spoilers, but
I wouldn't say I have a favorite scene. I would say I have a favorite episode, which was I think episode 6, where it's in the funeral home, where they just had this amazing, just like continuous shot.
Oh, okay.
Of like they're just going around. It's just like continuous, and then you, all of a sudden, like once they turn, it's like okay, you see the ghost there, blah blah blah. And the crazy thing about the show I loved also was like the little Easter egg ghosts that they had.
They
had
I
these,
snapped a
little,
few pictures of them when I
They
caught
just
them.
have these like little hidden ghosts throughout certain scenes.
Oh, I need to pay more attention to that. I
It's-
probably missed
Yeah,
too much
it's
of
to
them.
look for.
It's really hard to find. It's like also, but just like once you see it, it's like oh shit.
I remember the statues would turn their heads.
Yeah,
If y'all remember that.
No.
I did catch that. I think someone pointed it out on Facebook, and that's like when I started looking for it.
I definitely have one specific scene that's my favorite scene in the whole show, and it was the scene where Nell dies.
Right.
And she just does that whole
Man.
time loop as she just falls.
Oh my god.
And she sees herself as the broken neck lady.
So I actually saw that coming, and we'd been talking about our theories.
Yeah.
He thought the bent neck lady was going to be the mother, and I was just like, no. I was like, I think it's going to be someone else. And he's like, who? And I was like, I don't think I said it at the time because I was ahead and I didn't want to spoil anything for him. And then when episode 5 came around, it was confirmed, because that's something that I think Lovecraftian horror does a lot, where it plays with time in this way, because we don't really understand what time actually is. We think of it as a straight arrow because that's how we experience it as humans. But there's all these theories about what time is, and it's basically that perhaps the future can affect the past and vice versa.
Yeah, it's that's definitely an idea that's been played around with a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And I just love the way it was executed in that episode, in that scene, because you just see her
feel
drop down.
bad, too.
Yeah,
You're just like,
Yeah.
so this whole time she's been haunting herself.
Yeah, it was just
Yeah.
this weird loop.
Yeah.
Of all the people in the show that didn't deserve that, she was probably one of them. She
Yeah,
was
that
a
was
very
such a nice
innocent
person.
character.
But even then, she was still like MVP, bro. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, she does the whole thing at the end.
yeah.
It reminded me of Gurren Lagann a little bit. I don't know if you guys remember towards the end of Gurren Lagann when they're fighting the anti-spirals and they put them into that dream world and gives them all like their fantasies or whatever. But then Kamina goes in and breaks everybody out of their spell.
Yeah.
It reminded me of that, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. It's a good show.
So what about favorite characters? Because there's a lot of characters to like in that.
Yeah, for me is definitely Luke and Nell, and then third is Theo.
Third is Theo? Okay. For me, the first top favorite spot goes to Theo, and then probably the father.
Yeah, I like the father a lot because he sacrificed a lot to keep his family safe, and then he didn't even tell anybody anything. So he's I guess that promise he made, which maybe it could have been executed better, but still the fact he was willing to make that kind of sacrifice.
Yeah, he really became a martyr.
Yeah, because his family hated him for years.
Yeah.
For years after all that happened, and he just had to deal with it.
Yeah.
And just kind of be the punching bag.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then in the end, until they finally figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
I bet they all felt pretty shitty afterwards.
Yeah. There's a lot of cases where people probably felt shitty when they, certain things were revealed. So.
And then I think another supernatural horror that we saw was Hereditary this year.
Oh yeah, Hereditary.
Yeah,
Have you seen Hereditary?
Yeah, it was pretty. So another movie that was pretty slow until it really got going. But when it did get going, was really cool. And then the reveal was very creepy and unsettling. I literally left the movie not really knowing how to feel about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I gotta admit though, I hated that. I thought that whole
that was very
tongue thing was too gimmicky.
I thought it was funny as hell in the theaters when people were getting scared by it, because anytime there's just a moment of silence and all of a sudden people are like,
it's because the thing is you could see that coming. You could see that coming, and it was just kind of
funny. It was funny. Whoever thought that a tongue click could be scary?
Yeah. Well, I didn't think the tongue click was scary. I thought, honestly, I thought it was kind of annoying. And when I saw the trailers for the movie, and it really showed that girl as being a big part of the film.
Yeah.
I almost didn't want to go see the movie because I thought the tongue click was going to be very annoying. And then my friend of mine was like, he was like, no, go watch it. Don't worry about it. That's only going to be for 30 minutes. And I didn't get what he was saying.
Yeah.
Until I saw the movie. But yeah, it worked out. I didn't have to hear it the whole time.
The thing that was spooky for me in that movie was just I think the mom when she was creeping around like Spider-Man. I'm like, no. If I think that's what makes me creeped out in certain supernatural movies is when I see unnatural movement by a human being.
Yeah, that wall crawl.
Yeah.
When they're walking on the wall,
yeah.
when their limbs move.
Yeah, it gets
ways
real
that they
creepy
shouldn't.
in the last 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
I remember that in Guillermo del Toro's Mama when it was one of the girls starts just moving like an animal.
Well, even Mama in that movie, that ghost, moved very unnaturally.
Yeah, if I see unnatural movement from something that I deem to be a human being, it just kind of creeps me out.
Yeah, it's very unsettling.
Yeah.
That movie Mama was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Until I figured out what was going on, and then it stopped being scary to me.
Yeah.
Because then you just like felt bad for the mom and the daughters.
See, I only saw the short film, and I didn't hear so many good things about the feature length film.
It was fine.
It was
It
fine.
was okay.
Yeah, I mean, the ghost itself was really creepy, and like I said, until you figure out what the story is,
Yeah.
it'll make it less scary because then you feel bad. But it was still like the effects were good, and like it was still creepy, and like also there's a lot of talent there because the actor that played the ghost, of Mama, that's like this really skinny. I forgot his name. But he's very
Doug
famous.
Jones.
Yeah, he's very
I think
famous
it's Doug
for.
Jones. He's done Silver Surfer. He's done a lot in Pan's Labyrinth. He did like majority of the characters in Pan's
exactly.
Labyrinth.
I think I know.
And he's known for being very flexible.
Yeah.
So he put a lot of good. He did like all those movements.
Yeah.
In that movie, So like that was all him.
Yeah, he does. He knows how. And he was he did the
Abe
motion
Sap-
for Abe
okay,
Sapien.
yeah, I thought that was the guy.
Yeah,
Alright,
he was
so I
really
didn't know.
cool.
Yeah, he's really good. I remember seeing him at MegaCon. He's a very good dude.
He's like tall, skinny guy, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, horror lately has been getting really good. I think, and I mean like really, they're stepping up and becoming they're kind of transcending the genre, the typical genre tropes.
Yeah,
or if
we've-
not, they're having more fun with it.
We've hit a bit of a renaissance with it.
Yeah.
They started taking them more seriously and putting a
Yeah.
lot more thought into creating like compelling stories for them.
Right.
Like Get Out was like one of the first
Oh,
ones I
yeah.
saw that was really kind of starting that trend.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like a really good horror movie that was just like it was actually like quality instead of just relying on gimmicks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was the thing, right? It was like they advertised it like it's going to be a comedy. The marketing for it was pretty good because like they kind of advertised it kind of like it's going to be like this parody type comedy, but then when you go into it, it's kind of
It's-
like, oh shit.
Yeah.
This
I don't
is
actually remember
pretty
the
deep.
trailers.
It's actually pretty deep because it's kind of like, and then a movie that failed on that was another Guillermo del Toro movie, I think Crimson Peak, where they kind of advertised it like it was a horror movie, but there's kind of like this just gothic fairy tale with ghosts.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
keep in mind that the gothic horror genre kind of tends to be like that. It depends, because there's different levels of gothic horror, and I haven't seen Crimson Peak, so I can't say for sure.
Yeah.
But you've got some gothic that is kind of like that, like spooky fairy tale
Well,
almost.
that was the
and then-
thing is like, if they advertise it like that, that's fine. But the way the marketing went for it, even I think Guillermo del Toro had comments on the marketing. It's like, yeah, they kind of advertised it like it was going to be like this really spooky horror movie when that was totally not my intention at all
Right.
with it.
Because always remember though that the marketers aren't necessarily the creatives
No,
behind
yeah,
the movie, so
yeah.
it's like they're just trying to make their money back. They think maybe hitting a certain demographic
Yeah.
is the way to go. So that's what it sounds like happened with Crimson Peak.
Yeah.
I'm hoping with more of these like quality films coming out and doing well with more control from the director,
Yeah.
will encourage producers to take a bit more of a backseat,
Yeah.
of a backseat on the filmmaking process and let the director have more control.
Yeah.
Because like when you let directors do their thing, they come up with really good stuff a lot of times.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So out of the slasher franchise, what's your favorite franchise?
Oh, out of all of horror, well, a franchise or like a specific movie? Because I have a specific movie that's my favorite, but I also have a franchise that's definitely my favorite.
Go in both then.
So my favorite horror movie of all time is the 2004 Dawn of the Dead, the
Dawn
one
of
by
the
Zack
Dead.
Snyder.
Okay.
Yeah, and then obviously my favorite franchise would probably be the Halloween franchise.
So are we talking strictly about slashers or just horror in general?
Well, you can go in horror in general, I guess, too.
Ooh,
Whatever
that's-
suits your
that's-
fancy. Like I said, I'm not the horror buff here.
That's
You guys
tough
are.
because it's hard for me to pick favorites, especially when I can't remember everything off the top of my head. So instead, I'll just kind of be a little more general. I'll say favorite slasher franchise is definitely Halloween, like Marco. And I think as far as like one horror movie that really scared the shit out of me, and this was at a time when I was older, I was a little more desensitized to horror because, again, I started watching it when I was 3 years old. So that would be Evil Dead, because I watched that when I was like 13, 14. And this is the original Evil Dead.
Yeah.
With Bruce Campbell. And that movie was fucking intense.
It's crazy how much they did with such a small budget.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same
And
movie.
like those effects may not
Yeah.
hold up too great nowadays, but like it's just was still very intense for like what
Exactly.
it had.
Well, I think
Yeah.
once you kind of get into the theater of the mind mode, whatever they call it, like where you put yourself in it, it's an intense ride. It's exhausting and it's terrifying. It's what do they call it? Grueling horror. Is
I don't know, but
Something like that.
I do agree with what you're talking about it being exhausting, especially with watching Ash in that film go through what he goes through. Because even by the end of that film, you see him just like pass out
yeah.
because he himself is exhausted from the ordeal.
Yeah.
And then so like the film does a good job of making you feel that with him. Like when he just like passes out or just being done, like you kind of
Yeah.
do the same.
I think the worst thing is that it's some kind of evil that you can't pin down.
Yeah,
Because-
like a lot of times you can't even see it.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's in people, it's in the forest. It's just like, how do you fight something like that?
There's so many ways of affecting you.
Yeah. And what about when it possesses you? Then it's just
Yeah.
like, well, shit.
Chop your arm off.
Yeah. I don't think he does that in the original
No, he
Evil
does
Dead, but
it
he
in
does it
number
in
two.
2.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
does that in the second film.
It's like, damn, he went through the ordeal twice. It's
Yeah.
just like
It was such an ordeal they had to retcon it and make it worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Evil Dead 2, that was like it was like a recreation. So it was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a reimagining.
It was like a recreation sequel put together.
Yeah.
because it's like, oh, people like the first one. We got a bigger budget. Let's do it better.
Yep.
Let's improve on it.
Yeah, he wanted to like go back and fix
Yeah.
maybe what he was doing.
I like Evil Dead 2 better than Evil Dead 1, but Evil Dead 1 I think scared me more cuz Evil Dead 2 has more of the humor to kind of like mitigate it.
You know what's funny? When I was younger, I saw Army of Darkness, which was like the third film in the franchise.
yeah.
I saw it without knowing that Evil Dead 1 and 2 were a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just like a
that's
standalone
how it
movie by
started for
itself.
me.
Yeah, pretty much.
I saw Army of Darkness first, and that's almost like full on comedy. It's not scary.
Yeah,
No,
the
yeah.
movies get more comedic as they go.
Exactly.
Like the first one is like definitely hard.
Which is pretty interesting to say because like you could look at that as like character development for Ash. It's kind of like, okay, all this crazy shit now has just become like a joke to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he becomes
Even
a
in
badass.
Evil Dead 2, he just starts laughing.
Yeah.
What it is like with the deer, the whole house like laughing with him. He's just like, fuck.
Yeah. Like he basically goes crazy. It's just
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a badass now. Doesn't matter.
And then what about the Halloween franchise? What do you guys say about that?
I love the Halloween
I
franchise.
mean, you're wearing a Michael Myers
Yeah,
shirt.
you're
so,
repping, man.
Yeah.
Michael Myers to me is just he's a scarier slasher to me because he's more realistic
Yeah.
than other slashers. And like I love other slashers, but the scary thing about Michael Myers is that it's something that could actually happen to you.
No, yeah, and it's happening. I mean, I've been listening to the Sword and Scale podcast for a while now, and it's just kind of like to hear that stuff. It's kind of like, ooh.
What is Sword and Scale, by the way, for those that don't know?
It's a true crime podcast. It goes into like true crimes that have taken place.
Oh, so basically they talk about things like real life serial killers.
Yeah, and it's nuts to see like make that comparison with Michael Myers. That's what kind of like spooks me about Michael Myers as well. Is that like there are people like that that
Yeah,
just,
there's actually
that
like
have
mental patients.
no rhyme and reason.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not even just mental patients. It's just like just people in general. And it just was spooky about it. It's like it could be anyone.
Yeah.
They could just snap at the flip of a switch and just decide, okay,
Yeah, literally
I'm
no
gonna take human life.
nothing instigated at all.
Yeah.
They just pick up a knife and
Boom.
they kill someone,
Yep.
and then
Well,
that's it.
I think when you consider Halloween, especially at the start, like Halloween 1 and 2, it was pretty, what's the word? It was like dialed back in comparison to like how ridiculous it started getting with 4, 5, and Curse.
Yeah.
Where it was like his kill count was rather low, and he wasn't really doing anything too like over the top. I mean, getting shots like how many times?
Six
did he-
times.
Six
Yeah.
times
Yeah,
in the
six
first one.
times.
That was a little ridiculous, but you didn't really see anything like that until the very end.
Yeah,
And then it's kind of just like, what? He's just
Yeah.
gone after that?
I mean, yeah, there is certain like entertaining horror movies where it's kind of like you have to just kind of any entertaining movie sometimes you just have to like switch off the brain and just kind of like enjoy for what it is. Like Happy Death Day, it's just kind of like okay.
I love Happy Death Day.
Yeah,
Happy
it
Death
was
Day
such
is
an
super
Such a
enjoyable
good movie. Yeah,
Like it was one of those movies.
And it's getting a sequel.
Yeah, it is getting a sequel. I'm excited for that.
I'm gonna watch it.
Because I just remember going into the theaters and watching that. And I'm just like, yeah, this is not scary at all. It's just fun entertainment, and I just one of those movies like I'll talk in the theaters
Yeah,
during
do
it,
a
which
little
I did.
commentary.
Like doing like a little commentary. I'm just like, oh yeah, carbs are bad for you. You should totally watch that for those
They'll
carbs. I
kill
told
you.
you.
Yeah,
I told
and it
you.
killed
it
her.
was
Killed her. No, it was God, it was a fun movie, and I mean, I don't want to say it's not scary because some people in that theater were getting scared.
No, yeah.
Some people were screaming. It's just I think certain people aren't as scared by horror, and they can kind of sit there and have a different enjoyment.
No, and that's the thing, right? Is like for me, what was scary about Michael Myers and like with the Scream movies is that
Oh yeah, Scream was a great franchise.
yeah is that it's just a normal human being, but with the Scream movies and certain Michael Myers movies, I think, in especially the latest ones, so spoilers, I feel like the people make dumb decisions.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't happen.
I mean,
That's
happens in a
typical
lot of
horror
movies. Yeah,
movies.
that's typical of horror movies. But then with like the original Halloween, it's kind of like I don't think it was like dumb decisions. It was just
Yeah, I don't
kinda
think anybody did anything particularly dumb.
it was
They were
just
kind of
like
living their
oh,
lives.
It was just kind
Yeah.
of like, oh shit, I gotta survive this killer.
Yeah, and then a lot of people that died in that film, they didn't even see it coming. They were just doing their own
Exactly.
thing. They were
Because
just
no one
living their
knew.
life.
Exactly, and that's
and
what
then
made-
they just get killed.
Yeah,
And then Laurie Strode did a decent job of
Yeah.
trying to get away from Michael. I don't think she did anything like dumb or anything.
No.
She tried to get out of there. She tried to get to their house and
Yeah.
call the police.
yeah,
And she fought back. She defended herself too.
exactly.
Yeah, and
You know, she didn't just sit there and take it.
And she
Yeah.
was a kid because you got to remember she was like what 16 in the movie, 16,
Yeah.
17.
Yeah,
She was all the kids that got killed in that world, like
yeah.
they were high schoolers.
I'm not saying that the latest one was bad. I mean, it was a good movie. I just had some gripes about it.
Well, I mean, I think you're always gonna have certain gripes about a horror movie, but for me, I turn my brain off and kind of enjoy it.
Yeah, I
know
really
going in
enjoyed
that
the new
people-
Halloween movie. I thought
Yeah.
it was fun.
I felt like spoilers. Like since they showed a little bit of what Michael looks like, it took that scare element out of it for me. Because I was just kind of like, this guy looks like he's in his 60s.
I was just
With
like, that looks
superhuman
like Bruce
strength.
Willis.
I thought it was
just
kind of
like-
cool.
I was just kind of like,
No, I thought that first scene where they go to him in the asylum, I thought that was super intense.
Yeah.
I was like, some shit is gonna happen. Like I was on the edge of my seat because I was just waiting for something to happen, and it doesn't. Nothing happens. But the build up as if something's going to happen is fucking.
And then in that one moment, you kind of see him kind of look back a little bit at the mask.
Yeah.
And then like that's when you kind of see someone kind of wake up in him again.
Yeah.
It's like waking a sleeping giant. You
See,
know?
but
That
then-
fucking guy just had to do that, right?
Yeah, he fucked up. That was a dumb decision right there.
Yeah, that was the catalyst for it all.
yeah. But then, like, you know, I'm not saying that scene is not intense. For me, the fact that like it took me out of it is the fact that they kind of like showed him from like torso up. If they kind of get this
Right.
mysterious allure about him, like that he is this towering, like, and you don't see his face at all.
I mean, you see his face in the first film.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
was just gonna say. So, like, and people in the theater, from like what I've seen in documentaries about Halloween, people screamed at that moment when they saw his face.
Yeah.
and he's just some normal guy.
And that makes it scarier.
well, yeah, that makes it scarier. But as in the sequel, well, I mean, like I said, Halloween 1, when they show his face, it's like, yeah, he is not as old, or that's my thing.
You think he looks too old and like weak?
Yeah,
He
that
don't look
was
like he doesn't look like strong enough to do what he was doing.
exactly.
I mean,
that's
there's a
that's
lot-
my gripe with it. It was
No,
just kinda
because he
like,
still seems pretty imposing.
Like he didn't look
'Cause
feeble.
he's-
He looked strong
Yeah.
still.
So here's the thing: I can see both perspectives. There's on the one hand, I kind of think that maybe not showing his face would have been effective, but that's also again going back to the first film. They show
Yeah.
his face, and that was scary for people. I think that's still scary here because it's like
Yeah.
all of a sudden when the mask goes on, something changes for him. Even though he's still killing without the mask in this one, there's something changes when the mask goes on that makes it. I don't know how to put it into words, but
Yeah, I think like he got more brutal as.
When the mask goes on, you think? No, I think he was more brutal without it because he was like pulling out people's teeth and shit. But there's a certain disconnect, and then when the mask is off, like you have an emotional connection. You're like, wait, this is a person, and they're doing this.
Yeah, it really seals the idea that he can be a real person, and that somebody could really do this to you.
Yeah.
You know. But definitely when he puts the mask on, that is like him kind of transforming.
Right.
On a side note, I also thought it was really cool how the mask itself looked aged.
Yeah.
And older.
Yeah.
Like it had its own wrinkles and stuff.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, they did a really good job with the mask. I know
It was
some
the
of
best looking mask of all the movies, in my opinion.
Yeah, because some of the Halloween movies, they did not get the mask right.
Yeah.
First
yeah.
one was good. I thought the second one did a good job, and then after that, it was kind of just like it was a
the
toss up.
the mask and
Damn,
the
you couldn't silence your phone.
and the Curse of Michael Myers, the mask was pretty decent. And then also, so like I don't know, in H2O, 20 years later, the seventh one, the mask was like kind of weird, but it kind of worked. I don't know. It was a weird mask. Like you could definitely see more of his eyes in that one, but it did give it more intensity though, especially in the iconic scene where he meets Laurie again through the window. I don't know if you guys remember that scene. Maybe we could pull it up or something. But like, Michael Myers is on the other side of a door, and Laurie Strode looks through the circular window at him, and he like looks right back at her. And it's just this very brief, intense moment where they like lock eyes on each other, and like it's about to go down. And it's like it's really good. So like but like that's what I was saying. But the mask looks kind of weird, but they kind of make it work in that movie though. So.
So how do you feel about all the other Halloween movies being retconned except for the first one?
I think it's fine. I mean, it makes it easier to watch the film without having to worry about any history. So if you just want to, watch the first film and then go watch this, it's good to go. That's fine. And I did enjoy the other films in the franchise, but I don't feel like the ideas they were trying to portray kind of really hold up nowadays. Because a lot of what Michael Myers, like we've been saying this whole time, the fact that he's real, that he could be a real person, that he's realistic, is what made him more scary. And turning him into a curse created by some ritual, kind of takes away from the realism of his character. And like I enjoyed it, but if for a movie that's coming out now and trying to kind of reboot the whole thing or revamp the franchise or be like an anniversary film, you want to go back to the core. And like, so I thought it was actually a pretty smart decision to go back to just being off the first film. I didn't like that they didn't make Laurie his sister, because I thought that was like a great dynamic. I think this is why I thought that 20 years later did so well, was that rivalry that they created too.
Yeah.
Like Laurie spent all this time, like in the movie Halloween 20 years later, what happened was Laurie spent all these years hiding from Michael.
Yeah.
She changed her identity, she went and lived somewhere else, and she's basically spent her life just being afraid and hiding. And in that movie she finally learns to stand up and fight back. And like, I don't know, it just brings more of a dynamic when they're related.
Yeah.
Because
especially in this movie, because it just feels like a far stretch for Michael to be going after. Like they literally had to drive him to Laurie's house.
No,
and
exactly.
It's kind of like, what was his motivation?
Yeah, he has a motive when they're related.
Yeah,
he's going after his sister.
Exactly. Like if you have if you have that relation, and it seems like, oh yeah, he's a fucked up brother that just trying to go after like killing his whole family.
Yeah.
No, I do miss that aspect, but I think they did hint at it, like it's still possible, because people were talking about
They
it.
kind of played it off. They mentioned in the film that people were saying that they were related, but that was just some rumor.
Yeah.
But they never did, like, they never confirmed or denied it. It was just kind of like left up in the air.
It was. I don't think it was like a left up in the air. I think they just kind of did like an ode to the
I think it was just a way of dismissing that idea.
Right.
It's just kind of like,
I still think
we know
it's
we're giving it a
possible that if
homage.
they do another sequel, that could still like come up. That he is the the brother.
I don't know.
They could, but that would kind of be retreading on what Halloween 2 did.
Yeah,
because Halloween 2's big reveal was that they were related.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know if with the way it ended, I don't know if they should do another sequel.
Yeah, I mean, it was good as standalone. I mean, one thing I do enjoy about the Michael Myers films is how each movie finds a way for him to survive the last movie.
Yeah.
So I would be kind of interested in seeing how he survives the whole house blowing up and just like being on fire and being incinerated. I mean, I guess he could because that happened in Halloween too. He was incinerated, but he lived. So
Yeah, I mean the guy was like literally standing down there and just like
He was
like,
just waiting
this
for
part
them
does
to leave,
nothing
and then
to
he's
me.
like,
It's like,
way out.
This is nothing. I'm just gonna stand
I got
here.
shot in the face. I'm good.
Yeah.
I got shot in the
He
shoulder.
got shot in
I'm
both
good.
eyes. He's like, I'm. This is nothing. This is a spa treatment for me.
It's kind of like it's just merely a flesh wound.
Yeah. But I do enjoy it more as a standalone film.
Yeah.
I think I think we should lean a little bit more away from having sequels. And I really enjoy these just singular films now. So because doing sequels and all that's like Marvel's thing. So let's just leave it there and have these movies be on their own.
Okay.
What was your favorite scene? Like one of the scenes that had me laughing was the creepy friend when they were walking in the yard.
Yeah,
That just had me laughing. The lights just go on.
So
He's closer. The lights go up.
Like legit. That's probably how if I was like in that situation, I was drunk too, I would probably react in the same way. Just be like, "Oh man, I'm sorry. I'm just like laying off on my steam here.
No, but
I'm gonna get out of here now."
Into Michael's head and just kind of like red light, stop, green light, go.
Oh,
red
that
light,
actually brings
stop.
up that brings up a funny point. I would love to see a Halloween abridged series where they dub over how Michael Myers' interactions with people. They actually give him a voice and have him talking and stuff.
Yeah.
But it would all just be internal monologuing. How he's reacting to situations. So like in that situation, you'd be like, dude, what the fuck is up with this kid?
Like, man, I need to just put this kid out of his misery.
He's like considering just like letting him go because like you've had enough happen to you.
See, the way I would imagine it is just like he's just trying to play red light, green light.
Yeah. And
With the lights with this kid. He's like, I just want to play red light, green light.
Can you imagine how he looks when he's moving? Actually, when the lights are off, he's just like. It was like shuffling around,
and then not even that. Like I would just have him just be like, "Yeah, exactly." Just like doing dancing when the lights are going off. And just like,
and then the lights go back on. It's like, oh, well, gotta look creepy again.
I've always had this joke with my brother. You know how in these slasher films, the killer's always walking behind the victim.
Yeah, but you're bolting.
Running. Yeah, they're bolting it, but then somehow the killer's always the same distance, right?
Right.
We've always had this joke that when they look back, he just pretends to be walking, but when they're running forward, he's running behind him, and then he just stops as they look back.
Yeah, imagine how funny Michael Myers would look when he's like running, trying to catch up with people when they're not looking at him.
He's just like doing gymnastics and whatnot.
He's like doing fucking parkour and stuff. Yeah. I bet Michael Myers is real good at parkour.
I know. For real, because like it's just like weird, because like you just see him walking, all of a sudden he just gets ahead of people.
Yeah, it's just
he just cuts them off.
Yeah, he's got skills, man.
For example, like the other funny thing in that scene was just like I just imagine Michael Myers just trying to help that kid over the fence. Like, hey man, you're just trying to get home. Like I'm trying to help you out. Here.
I want to see
falls on the fence.
I want to see Michael Myers get on a Ninja Warrior and do the obstacle course. Yeah, I'll bet he'd make it to the top of Mount Midoriyama.
Dude, the entire audience would fall asleep waiting for him to make a move, and then he'd just be up there when they woke up.
Oh yeah. Everybody like look away for a second, and he's at the end of the course.
Yeah, and then he'd have the judge like put the knife through his neck and just like, what? What'd I do?
He's like, I passed, right?
I did it. Holds up the head. My trophy.
Oh man, but yeah. what else are we talking about? Like we totally changed the show from horror to horror comedy. You know,
I think it'd be really fun to see just like a competition show between all these different slashers.
Yeah,
like you get
well, there's already Freddy
Michael
versus
Myers.
Jason.
Well, you get Michael Myers, Jason, Freddy.
Michael Myers was the first, right?
He was the person that popularized slasher films. I think Jason came out just a little bit after him.
Yeah, Jason was just like for me, like his franchise is just campy fun.
Yeah,
it's just supernatural campy fun.
Yeah, Friday the 13th definitely takes a less serious approach to the films, and like the first film, is definitely trying to be scary, but like as they go along, they just get campier and campier, but I really enjoy that about those films because I watch those for that. So like my favorite Jason film is Jason X. because
Oh,
they just
yeah,
go
that's my favorite too.
full campiness on it.
Yeah, fucking in space.
It's great. It's awesome. It's just the best progression
Venom
of what that
Jason.
series is.
Yeah.
It's just like nuts. It's like, yeah, they got frozen at that time, then they both go into space. And
Yeah.
it's kind of like, oh,
No.
I was dealing with it before.
Dude, I love that one scene where they put him in like, the virtual reality thing.
Uh-huh.
They
Oh,
put
yeah,
the two camping girls there. He just like gets them in the sleeping bag. He's just like slamming it around everywhere.
Yeah, they're asking him, hey, do you want to do drugs and have premarital sex? Like, they say it straight up like that. Yeah, like, just so obvious.
And it's just like Jason's just triggered as fuck. Just like,
And like
God.
even with all that goofiness in that movie, it still has some really good kill scenes.
Yeah.
There's like just actually good. Like the one scene where he takes the girl and he puts her into like liquid nitrogen, like her face.
Oh, yeah.
And he like bashes her face in. That was really cool.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, and then you get that cool fight between like the robot warrior woman
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Jason.
oh, but
like,
she gets
oh.
wrecked the second time when he gets all the metal. and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Doesn't he like knock her head off?
Yeah, he does. But at first, she's doing really good against him.
Yeah. Yeah, she's the one that beat him in the first place, because like she like totally like blown off like the top portion of his body, and then the
And then the
medical
nanomachines
thing. Yeah.
heal him. Fucking nanomachines, man.
Yeah.
They ruined it.
Yeah, just like Metal Gear Solid, the nano machines ruined everything.
Nano machines.
Nano machines, son.
And then,
Another franchise that did a great job at mixing their fear with their goofy and campiness was Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like
Nightmare-
Freddy Krueger, also like the king
Exactly.
of that.
Yeah.
Freddy Krueger is a different beast entirely, because he's not really I don't even consider him a slasher type thing. I mean, he is, but he's so different in that.
He's very unique.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, he definitely goes into supernatural because, like, okay, so like with Jason, he starts off realistic,
Yeah.
but then he becomes supernatural because he becomes like a zombie.
Yeah, zombie.
But Freddy, he just right off the bat is a very supernatural character.
Exactly.
He
Just like the
invades you in your
fact.
dreams.
Yeah,
And
the
it's
fact that-
terrifying to think
exactly.
that
Yeah.
like you can't sleep, otherwise
And
you're
it-
gonna die.
And he gets really scary, but at the same time, those later films really make it goofy too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, do you all remember what was it, Dream Warriors, where he had the kid that was like a wizard? Yeah. Like so in Dream Warriors, the kids that he's after, they learn how to manipulate their own dreams and
Yeah.
become stronger and able to
Yeah.
fight back. This one kid is like a D&D nerd, so he
Yeah,
becomes like a 12th level like wizard or something and tries to fight Freddy. And Freddy always has like the best one-liners, you know, when he kills
Yeah.
people. I wish I could remember some, but maybe throw up a clip. You get some good. It's like I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy. You know? And he starts like licking her through the phone. It's some great moments in that franchise.
I remember one. I don't remember which movie it was in, but there's a dude in the hospital, and when he falls asleep, you know, Freddy's there, but he's in disguise as the nurse, and he just starts making out with him. So the guy thinks, "Oh, I'm making out with a nurse," but then all of a sudden, like, he starts freaking out, and then as the nurse pulls away, like, you see it's Freddy. You know, it's
Yeah.
his face, and he had like this long ass tongue. It was just like deep throating. It was like, oh god, it's nasty.
Yeah, Freddy just he probably has the most creative kills in
yeah.
my opinion. Like he comes up with just the wackiest and like funny or even scary ways to kill people, and he personalizes them too a lot of times,
Yeah.
like to that person. Like I think there was one girl he killed that she watched a lot of TV, and so he shoves her face through a TV that like. It's like him as a TV. So he's got like his head coming out of TV with antenna coming off of his head. And he grabs her and then shoves her into himself, which is the TV.
Yeah.
It's just stuff like that's just so creative and hilarious.
Yeah. It's a really fun franchise, you know. Another thing that you kind of turn your brain off, but then it still has that really scary aspect of like, well, shit.
Did you
Imagine
guys
if it was real and I had to go to sleep.
did you guys see Freddy vs. Jason?
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, like I thought I really enjoyed that film.
No, I enjoyed that too.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, oh, we got to combat him with another one. And it's just like,
Yeah.
boom, go
And
get
this was another one of those films where they're just being ridiculous
Yeah.
and kind of taking it to another level. But I love the way they did that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Freddy vs. Jason. That's like people want those like crossover. Well,
Yeah.
they used to. That used to be a big
Yeah.
thing. People want their crossover films. Like we got Alien vs Predator and stuff like that.
And that's the thing with Freddy and Jason, you can do that.
Yeah,
I don't
they
think
actually
you
it worked
would-
really well the way to do it.
I don't think you
enjoyed
would be able to do that with like Michael Myers doing a crossover because Michael Myers is kind of just like, okay, he is like an actual human being. He
Right.
just-
It
he's
doesn't
just
work the
fucked
same
up,
way.
demented person. Like he would get destroyed by Freddy or Jason because those are supernatural things.
You know, one
Are
crossover
we
that
talking about curse Michael Myers? Because in that case, I think he might win.
But I don't know, it's just
No.
I just think he's just kind of so much different.
Yeah.
He's like
No,
he does,
he
yeah.
is. He's different.
But one crossover I think that could work really well is Freddy versus Pinhead from Hellraiser.
Ooh,
You guys know Hellraiser?
Yeah,
Come
that would
on,
work.
that'd be fun, right?
Yeah.
That would.
Yeah, dude. What if like Pinhead tries to turn Freddy into like a Cenobite?
I remember Hellraiser being hella scary as a
Yeah.
kid.
Oh no. So yeah, Hellraiser was one of the slashers that wasn't. It got corny later. Also, like a
Yeah.
lot of these
Yeah,
slasher
they-
films,
They all kind of
they
devolve into
get corny,
corniness.
but like Hellraiser starts off much scarier than like Friday the 13th and
Yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street. The first Hellraiser film is just very, very unsettling. You know, there's so much like body horror in that movie that just really
Yeah.
grosses you out. But then it evolves later into there's a Cenobite that has like CDs in his head, and like there's one that's like he has a camera for an eye. Hellraiser gets really goofy later too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that I think Halloween was actually one of the few franchises that didn't get ridiculous. So like the idea of him becoming a curse and all that, it became supernatural and kind of weird. But the films itself didn't get the tone wasn't goofy or
Right.
campy.
Exactly.
They were still trying to be serious and scary
Exactly.
the whole time.
Like
Yeah.
especially with like the curse of Michael Myers, like I was spooked, man. I was like, you know, like the whole aspect of like him just going back to his old house.
yeah.
It just I was just like, oh shit, you know, I was like, yeah, these people are in my fucking house. I'm gonna fuck them up.
I will amend my statement though that there was one Halloween movie where they did get goofy.
Resurrection.
And it just they didn't do it well. So like that movie honestly is the only film from the franchise that I don't even like. I'm not considering Rob Zombie's remakes because I feel like that's I guess part of the franchise also, but I'm not a big fan of Rob Zombie ones either.
I put those aside. I look at them as different than the normal Halloween franchise.
But Resurrection definitely went for a campier tone, trying to be a little bit funnier,
Yeah.
and it kind of just like failed to do so. Because like at least the Friday the 13th, the Hellraisers, and the Nightmare on Elm Street, when they got goofy, they did them right to where they were so entertaining. But like when Resurrection tried it, it was at a time where that wasn't really the thing anymore.
Yeah.
And like I think they were trying to go off of the whole Scream idea, like what Scream was doing, because
they
Scream
were
was a
doing
little
the
bit funnier
reality
too.
TV
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. So I think they were trying to like kind of feed off of that kind of idea, and it kind of just like really failed to do anything.
Now we forget to mention. I've been holding on to this.
Oh, dude, yeah, how
it's
could we
like-
forget, man?
Texas
Texas
Chainsaw Massacre.
This is another franchise that starts off. This is Leatherface is a villain like Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Because Leatherface is another person that could be real.
Exactly.
In fact, they say,
Well-
based on a true story,
Yeah,
even though it's
and
not.
and the character of Leatherface himself is like mashed up from real murderers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's I forgot something Ed.
Ed Gacy. Something
No,
like
no,
that?
not Wayne. That's John Wayne Gacy. That's
Not
the
John
clown. Something Ed. That he was like fascinated by like human bodies and used to make furniture out of it. and
Yeah,
all
like
that
yeah,
kind of
people
stuff.
actually did that.
Like, cause they based that guy Hannibal on that guy as well. Some elements of Hannibal and
Yeah, Leatherface is another character that's just very scary because like that kind of like lack of control and just like intense fear that he represents. Because like when this guy comes after you, like unlike Michael Myers, he'll run at you.
yeah.
He's like a big old chainsaw. He's a very big hulking person.
Well, see,
very intimidating.
we don't know that Michael Myers runs or not.
Well, yeah, but you never see him run. But you see Leatherface running.
well, also this whole breaking through the doors the way he does, it's just like that's your boundary. He's just tearing through.
Yeah,
it
it's very
nothing.
like unhinged. You
Yeah.
know, he's very he brings a whole lot of intensity to what he does.
And not even that.
He's like,
like
an animal almost.
Yeah.
And then where
Scary.
you're at as well, right? It's just kind of like it's a rural area where you don't have access, or where you
Isolated.
can't get.
Oh,
help.
yeah, yeah,
'Cause,
very
his whole
isolated.
Family is
It's hard to find help.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like that's the thing that like gets me, I think we talked about it in the Resident Evil movie, was that in the Resident Evil video, is that that's why I find Resident Evil 1 scary, because like
Because
you're
the
isolated.
isolation.
The isolation.
Yeah. Well, I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre makes it more frightening because these are people that are like very much aware of what they're doing. So it's like with Resident Evil, it's mindless zombies. So like you think, okay, well, there's other humans here with me and they're on my side.
No,
we're
exactly.
united against this. But in this case, they're all united against you.
And they're a family.
Yeah.
They're cannibals. They've been doing this for years.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This is what their family is all about. So like it just puts you in a much scarier situation, especially after like the group of friends and like all her, like there's the girl and all her friends are like dead and it's just her by herself.
Yeah.
That's so scary. Like, can you imagine being alone with that family?
That's such a hopeless situation.
Yeah. Also, like the production of that film was scary too for the actors.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know, but in that scene where the girl is with the family and she's like tied up, they actually cut her to get like some genuine reaction out of her.
What?
Yeah. Like I don't think it was anything like horrible, but like they actually like hurt her to get like a genuine reaction out of her.
I'm guessing she didn't know that was coming.
No, she didn't see it coming. Yeah, but
there's no way that these days you could get away with that.
No, yeah, definitely. But back in those days, the laws were a little bit more lax. You know, we hadn't developed all that safety stuff. So yeah, sometimes directors would just like mess with you to get you to like, especially like Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah,
Stanley Kubrick. I've heard the story.
Remember the woman, the wife from The Shining?
Yeah,
he like verbally abused her so much
to
make her like look like so like stressed out and just tired out from during the film. That's because that's how she actually was. She's like losing hair over filming that movie.
Yeah, and even like the scene with the door, which was supposed to be like improvised, I believe like she had no idea that he was gonna bust through the door.
Yeah.
Same thing.
So that was a genuine reaction when she was screaming like that.
In Alien, the chest bursting scene.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, I remember.
None of the actors knew that was gonna happen.
Yep.
So
I remember hearing interviews with some of those actors, and they were talking about how they didn't see that coming, and like the one girl that screams and she's like, "Oh God!" Like that's like a real, like genuine reaction. Yeah. I mean, it's really cool, but like, I mean, I don't condone doing that to actors, but like maybe if they agree to it, like before they start filming.
Yeah. Well, I think in the case of Alien, like it wasn't like anyone got hurt; they just didn't know that was coming.
Yeah.
That much is fine.
Yeah.
But in the case of like Kubrick verbally abusing, or like in the case of Texas Chainsaw Massacre actually getting cut, there's a certain line that nowadays we know you should not cross.
Yeah.
So, you know.
They did give some really good reactions, though.
It worked out for the making of the art, but then you also got to consider like, is it worth it for that person's
mental,
health?
mental and physical health.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, right? Is like, where do we draw the line between the fantasy and reality of horror and whatnot?
Yeah. Well, I mean, just fiction in general. There's a very, I think when you get into it, there's a very blurry line because it's not all in the mind, of course, and it's going to affect different people differently. But that's another topic.
So what do you guys see in the future for horror movies now? Now that we feel like there's like a certain renaissance.
Well, the way I'm seeing it, we've got this wave of good horror coming in. I think what's going to happen is we're going to see a lot of good films, and that's going to plateau a bit. And then as it gets stale again, we're going to eventually have another wave that ups the bar.
So I wonder if we'll get another wave of ridiculous horror movies.
I was thinking of.
We kind of are. I mean, have you seen The Babysitter yet?
Dude, The Babysitter, yeah.
The Babysitter's fucking amazing.
That's actually a good point because one side of what films are doing now is the current generation of people is very much into nostalgia. So we're getting a lot of media nowadays that really tries to capture your nostalgia, and that's something that we get a lot of. And The Babysitter is definitely one of those films that kind of feeds off of nostalgia and stuff like that. Yeah. It feels kind of like an 80s horror film.
Yeah.
And so I definitely see more movies like that coming out too that try to capture the nostalgia of the 80s, 90s and stuff like that.
It's almost like what retro wave is in music.
Yeah,
this is what these movies are doing for horror.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, like even Stranger Things.
Oh yeah, Stranger Things was a big like 80s inspired.
it's inspired by Goonies. It's inspired by like
Ghostbusters.
Stephen King.
Ghostbusters, Stephen King,
Monster Squad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
All
Monster
kinds of
Squad.
stuff.
Yeah, dude, I love Monster
Yeah,
Squad.
buddy.
So,
But yeah, just I think actually on streaming services is actually where you see the most
yeah.
of those nostalgic films.
Yeah.
I don't see him too much, obviously. Actually, in theaters, I just see it more on streaming services.
Yeah.
Like I said, like you guys said, Stranger Things, The Babysitter, those are all on streaming.
I would even put Happy Death Day in that category because it feels almost like a throwback to all those things.
I don't know if it really felt nostalgic to me. I guess it can kind of relate back to the early 2000s renaissance of films.
Yeah,
the
maybe.
Scream era.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It kind of does
I
remind me a little bit of that because
Yeah.
you got things like
Like the baby face
yeah,
type thing.
it was like what, Valentine's Day or something. Like
Yeah.
there were horror movies like
Valentine's
that.
Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was like early to mid 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
The movies like Scream kind of inspired that wave of films that try to be kind of like less serious and then more reality based, and just being about crazy people.
Yeah.
You know. Which also I thought was a great era too. Like I love
Yeah.
Scream.
No, yeah, I
Yeah.
love Scream
There's good
too
things
because
from every
Scream
era.
was just kind of like it was like this very meta movie. It
Yeah.
was just kind of like a play on like this
It
is
had,
what
it had the
horror
rules of a horror movie.
had the rules. It's
Yep.
outlined like, and then like you kind of look back and like, yeah, those were some of like the rules of horror
Yeah,
movies,
and I'm not
you know?
I'm not sure I saw any films before that that did that. That
Exactly.
gave you the rules,
Yeah.
and then that eventually evolved into movies like The Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
That just took the whole franchise, the whole genre,
Yeah.
and like
the whole
flipped it on its head.
deconstruction
Yeah.
of the horror genre.
Yeah, I thought movies like Scream and Cabin in the Woods are great. I
Yeah.
love the way they were
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
And then you just got some really other good ones that are coming out that are kind of meaningful, like It Follows. Like that's almost like a sort of parable because you can make.
It Follows was very creepy.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
creepy.
Yeah.
So
That was another very nostalgic '80s feeling movie.
yeah, but then it also has like a sort of moral for the times, I guess. Like
Also, that movie was weird because like you couldn't quite tell what time period they were in because it was kind of like a hybrid of modern and '80s. Because if you look, a lot of if you looked at like the backgrounds and stuff, it looked very '80s. But then like there were scenes where like one of the girls was on what looked like it looked like a makeup mirror thing, but it was really like a tablet type of thing, like for going online
Yeah.
and like
Oh,
and stuff.
I
So it
don't
had
think
all
so.
these very modern things, but in like an '80s setting. It was very much like a hybrid of the two eras.
I didn't even think of that, but
If
that
you-
that
yeah.
probably contributes to that whole dreamlike feeling.
Yeah,
throughout the whole
and it's
movie.
unsettling.
Yeah.
It kind of makes you think like you're in the movie and you don't even realize why you're unsettled until you try to like pay more attention to it. Then you see these things, you're like, what time period is this? And you can't figure it out, and that's like makes it that makes a disconnect for you.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I think that about wraps this up since we've gone on for quite a while. Are there any other comments or things you guys want to mention?
Watch more horror movies.
Yeah.
Watch more horror movies, yeah.
Yeah, support the franchise.
Real quick,
Support the genre.
real quick. What time period did you guys like? Did you like the '80s
That's
horror?
a good question.
90s
90s
horror?
horror.
Did you like the early 2000s?
Yeah.
Or are you really digging our current renaissance?
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Let us know that.
Yeah, put down in the comments. I'll let you know that probably mine would be 80s, like late 80s to mid 90s.
Yeah.
Is like when a lot of the good stuff came out to me. Like so put it down there. Let us know what you guys like.
And let us know what you're looking forward to too, because I know there's a lot of good ones coming out. Again, Happy Death Day 2.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited. It's gonna be great.
And now you gotta close it out with the theme of Halloween. Was it?
Oh, dude, yeah, put the.
Yeah.
Oh man.
No, you guys,
Right,
you
that's
got
going
acapella it, bro. Do that.
No, I'm not even gonna try.
Like the Game of Thrones.
How about I just play it from
Game of
my?
Thrones acapella.
We're just gonna, that's
Come on,
it. This
let's
is
do
gonna
it.
end. It's
Let's
gonna
do
be Marco just acapella.
And then you do the other part.
No, I'm not. We can
So
stop.
it is, Zia.
No, we're gonna stop this.
You're no fun.
Well, we'll have a
Yeah, 'cause I'm just
good
gonna sound like an
outro
idiot.
clip for you guys.
All right. Well, We've enjoyed this talk, and we hope you have too. This has been Geek Tank, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Deuces. Oh, this thing's. I was like, what's he doing eating his tie?
I mean, Leatherface does a lot of weird things, so I wouldn't be surprised if he was eating his tie. That's definitely his tie, though.
Yeah, that's his tie.
See, it's a tie made of human tongue.
It probably is.
See? So he's eating a tongue.
It's funny that, like, a person like Texas Chainsaw Massacre actually wears a tie.
He wants to be fancy.
I know.
Because,
right?
I mean, the whole thing about Leatherface is he wanted to be beautiful. That's why he wore the female face as a mask. So, like, the tie is just all part of the look. He wants to look fancy and beautiful. That's all he ever wanted.
Classy.
He wanted to be a classy murderer.
Yeah. Just like Michael, just wanted to be accepted. Just trying to spend quality time with his sister.
Yeah, I don't know why Lori had to be so mean to him. He just wanted to hang out,
Yeah, man, she stabbed him in the eye and shit.
Yeah. That's just how he
trying to give her
shows
a hug.
his affection, is by stabbing people.
I love you.
Yeah. All right. You guys ready?
Yes.
Stretching.
Possibly.
All right.
My booty hole is tight.
It's
Booty
puckered
holes
up.
night. Did you
It's
see
puckered
Lori?
up.
Did
Yeah,
you see
get
Lori
up
like
and
disappear?
be like,
that's the sound the booty hole makes.
yes. When it puckers up a bit, yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's a sign that you got real
Dr.
scared.
Doom.
Yo, Doc Doom is the man, bro.
You gotta get in there and kiss that
That's
booty
the
hole.
man.